If you're a 3D artist and you need to hear this, all that time coming up with your best idea and then the final result looks meh, or it looks like something's missing within your scene, well, in this video I'm going to show you the best ways to make a cinematic look within Blender. We're going to talk about things from the resolution, the lighting, the coloring, and the depth of field and stuff like that. I'm going to explain it within this video. Yo, how's it going, guys? Hope you all having a wonderful day, and in today's video we're going to talk about cinematic renders within Blender. We're going to be covering all topics that are to do with making your scenes a lot better and more cinematic, like the depth of field, resolution, aspect ratio, colors, lighting, scene positioning, and what you can do to make your scenes pop a little bit more in those final changes. So the first topic we're going to be talking about is going to be the resolution. As well, for your resolution, it is very important. That's how you're going to view your screen. Obviously, you have the standard 1920 by 1080, or it goes like 4K, 8K, or 16K. Of course, you can put it at any resolution that you want. If you want a profile picture size like 1000 pixels by 1000. Cinematic shots can be pretty much put in any aspect ratio or resolution, but for this video I'm going to stick with a 1920 by 1080 or 4K, whatever you like to do. Obviously you can have it like a banner size, maybe like 1500 by like 1000, something like that, to make it look more longer and you can see more of the scene or wider the frame. Now, another thing to talk about is going to be the aspect ratio as well. This way you have the empty space, or known as the black bars, that we have on the top and bottom to make it more cinematic. As you know, of all movies, this is known as empty space, but for us, what we normally do, or for myself, I pretty much render my scenes in 1920 by 1080 or 2K, 4K, whatever resolution. Go into Photoshop where I do my final effects, and I just have the rectangular box, drag it from one corner to the other, alt backspace to fill in the black spot, and then just alt and then drag it down to the bottom, and there you go, you have your black bars. Quite simple. Now we have a rough idea of what a scene is going to be or what resolution. Then we're going to look into the colors or what we're going to be making. As you can see in the background, I have this speed art of the Jurassic World that I'm doing at the minute, just for fun, really, for the video that I made quite quickly. And this was just to see what I can do in a short period of time of me modeling, doing the lighting and everything like that. Now, I find the colouring of a scene makes a huge difference. But if you have a desert scene, you obviously want it to be like a warmy colour, like obviously deserts. So it's going to be orange, yellows, as well reds and stuff. Then maybe you have like a city scene. It could be quite cold and gloomy, so more blacks in there with like blues, greens, lighter colours that maybe could be white or turquoise. Now, I find the colour of your scene makes a huge difference. If we take movies, for example, as well, the new one, Dune, so they have obviously a mix of load of colours as well. Their main colours that I see a lot is definitely the orange for the desert. That makes a lot of sense. And then when they get into like the rocky, darker areas, it's more like a turquoise-y, bluey colour. Obviously through the day it's going to be a lot lighter, and so you're going to have those like desert colors coming out, and then through the night it's going to be darker, so those blues, teals and greens will start coming out. So for the speed art in the background, you can tell that I've gone for a darker color because I feel like it's just going to fit the scene perfectly, especially when I add the rain in later. I think it's just going to make it look a lot better, more cinematic, if you have the foreground that is dark, and then you have where obviously the main object is. And that's what we're going to go over now. It's going to be positioning. So wherever you have your positioning of the object, you don't have, say for this one, I have the Indominus Rex right in the center pretty much. A bit off center though. But if I have it with a dark background with a load of trees back there, you're not really going to tell it's going to be there. So you're going to be missing where the main focus is going to be. So by having a bright light or the sky back there, just makes it look like you can actually see the objects very well. As well, I like to put this to this Mad Max cover. As you can see, like we talked about, it has those colors, and obviously the lighting is very distinct, but you can tell on the left hand side there's like a rock or a hill there, and it has the car on that side. But then you have Mad Max himself on the right side where it's empty and he's looking over the desert. I feel like just displayed very well. For that scene, for example, if you do switch it up and have him like looking to it pretty much towards the mountain or kind of blending in, you can't really see what he's doing or where the main focus is going to be. So if him being on that right side looking down at the desert just makes a lot of sense. Now, our next topic is going to be the lighting. I feel like lighting is probably my favorite thing to do, and probably one of the most important, because you can have a scene that is really, really good, like a city scene, and the lighting can be pretty terrible and it just won't come across the same. Obviously for myself, I'm not a perfect like at modeling lighting or anything like that to create the best piece, but from what I've learned, I feel like lighting is the one that makes the biggest difference. So if you have a landscape, for example, then obviously you're going to maybe have a load of trees everywhere, and then the light's going to come through. And obviously with those trees, you're going to have like maybe a bit of mist, and you're going to have God rays or as well light rays coming through the trees. Just little bits like that to make it more detailed and where it's coming from, where the shadow is casting. If you want the shadow to be in the foreground, like in the speed art in the background here, you see that I have the foreground a bit darker and the main focus of light is coming from the front. Now it makes a big difference if your scene is going to be indoors or outdoors. For example, the indoor scene, you might have windows or doors that could be casting light through, or maybe even through the floorboards or something like that. Just little ideas to point out there. So I find for lighting is to spend quite a long time on this and obviously try many different things from different angles. Maybe even change the colors like we talked about a minute ago to see what actually works best. Maybe that blue might even look better if it is something else. Now what we're going to talk about is going to be the depth of field. I feel like this is very important. Obviously you have a character really close to the screen, and you probably want the background to be blurred. So obviously the main focus is going to be that character. A good example is this Overwatch one, and you can see that she's looking up. Obviously a very dramatic scene there, and you can tell that the main focus is her and the background around her is obviously more blurred. Now how I do this in Blender to make my focus point, what I do all the time is add an empty, and then when you do that you go onto your camera, you click on it, and then you see depth of field. You tick the box, and then you have the eyedropper tool and you click on the empty, and wherever that empty is going to be, that is where the focus point is. So if it's really close to the camera, most likely the background is going to be blurred, but if it's further away, then the foreground is going to be blurred. So I hope this video has helped you out, not so much a tutorial but little tips and hints to help you make your cinematic scenes. So if this did help you out at all, please drop a like and also subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. So I'm going to be uploading more tutorials here. I know I say that every time, but my goal is to do maybe 1 or 2 videos every week of like tutorials, little things here and there to do with creating art. Of course myself, I'm no professional artist at Blender or anything like that. I kind of just like to do tutorials like this because I know it helps some people out and pretty much just give away things I know already. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.